The only good Indian is a dead Indian. Kill the Indian and save the man. The meaning of the second sentence was, if you destroy a man's cultural identity, then you don't have to physically exterminate him. These ideas were enshrined into American law in 1877 with the Dawes Severalty Act, intended to sever Indians from contact with or memory of their traditions. The idea of killing the Indian in someone is a violent metaphor, and the ideas behind it spawned a violent phenomenon, the Indian schools. These were boarding schools, such as the Carlisle Indian School, started in the 1870s, who aimed to assimilate native people by making them civilized Americans. Sometimes, apparently, the schools were unable to kill the Indian in someone, and they were forced to kill the man. Part of the idea behind these schools was to make Indians start being proud to be American and to make them stop being proud to be Indian. The reason Americans wanted Indians to be American instead of Indian is they thought Americans were better and more important than Indians. And they strongly suspected, perhaps correctly, that Indians were proud to be Indian because they thought they were better than Americans. In other words, pride and prejudice are closely linked. The feeling that some people, your people, are better and more important than other people seems to arise naturally in the human breast. Almost all of the core arguments raging in America today pivot around the underlying belief that some of us are better than others and that we belong to the better group. And these arguments, these beliefs, they're passionate, intuitive, and deeply felt. In spite of the literal physical deaths along the way, the Indian and Indian people did not die in Indian schools. Native religious beliefs endure. Does knowing about Indian schools and the violent ideas behind them make you proud to be an American? If you're a Native person, does knowing that the religious beliefs of Native people survived make you proud? Think about the idea that Indian schools were actually an attempt to be an improvement on the outright massacres that preceded them. Does that change your feelings? Every school and every Indian had an at least slightly different story, and some were not horrible. Does that make a difference in how proud you are? Why are we fighting similar culture wars today? Why are we fighting tooth and nail about our schools and what our children should be assimilating or not, and what they should be proud of or not? Part of the reason is that pride at its root has to do with self-respect. Americans these days are sorely lacking in self-respect. It's a terrible feeling to lack self-respect, and one way to try to cure that feeling is by compensating with false pride. The idea that you are actually better than others, when you know, deep down, you're not. Jim Thorpe was a legendary American athlete in the 1910s. He was so famous he got a ticker tape parade in New York City. He was a Native American who went to an Indian school. His athletic talent was recognized and nurtured at that Indian school. Who gets to be proud of Jim Thorpe? Americans? Indians? The Indian school? Everyone? No one? A big reason why Americans are not truly proud of themselves these days, why we fight bitterly about who among us is better than the others among us, is that we fucked up and we know it. We bought into Reaganomics and neoliberal thinking and globalism and corporatism. The Democrats pushed globalism and free trade. The Republicans pushed trickle-down economics and tax cuts for the wealthy corporations. And what do we get? An economic situation so fucked up that nobody likes it except 7 grape-headed billionaires. We all got duped like idiots, and deep down we know it. We want to say the other side was wrong. We were all wrong. We got had. We got played. Jim Thorpe's brother died at an Indian school. Is anyone ashamed of that? And all the other deaths at those schools? Should someone be? Many Americans have ancestors who changed their last names to become more American. Does that make the Americans today proud to be so American? Proud of the names they lost? Proud of the ancestors and the sacrifices they made to be so American? Maybe Americans could have kept their pride and their self-respect, seen what was going on, saved themselves from an economy and a landscape littered with more failures than successes. But we were all glued to our phones. Everyone in power lied to us, and we didn't bother to do a damn thing because we were looking at pictures of cats on the internet and trying to impress our friends and neighbors on Facebook and Instagram. Our bad, and we know it. The shit really hit the fan in 2008 when the economy up and completely crashed, and rich corporations got bailed out and the Tea Party got mad. Deep down, Americans have been angry ever since. The system fucked everyone but the super rich, and we still haven't fixed it yet. If you're white in America, are you proud of being white? Does thinking about white settlers taking land from Indians make you feel proud? Ashamed? Neither? What story do you tell yourself about the white people who took the land? Is it the same story that other people tell you? When you think about people being exiled or deported from the land they grew up on, what do you think about? Do the deportations taking place today make you feel proud? If so, proud of who? Do they make you feel ashamed? If so, ashamed of who? We blame each other for the mess we created, including the immigration mess. Maybe we should stop that and start blaming the people who have benefited from it. The extremely rich and the extremely powerful. The tech titans that screwed us all with their algorithms. Maybe we need to stop blaming ourselves and stop blaming each other. Maybe we need to get our pride back the old-fashioned way, by succeeding, by doing something difficult, by fixing the system that only works for a dozen or so people so that it works for the people it was intended to, the rest of us. Maybe we don't need the shame that we've been clinging to, the false pride, or the prejudice. Maybe we need to get finally fed up enough to actually fix things. In spite of the